Hey everyone, today we have two very enterprising individuals, CA Rasika Gokhale and CA Rajvi Nathwani, for the law strategy video here today. To introduce them one by one, CA Rajvi Nathwani has secured AAR 3 in CA final exams in November 2020 with 86 marks in paper 4, corporate and economic laws. Thank you, Rajvi, for taking out time today. Rajvi is also working at the Unilever FLP and she's joined recently. We will also be attaching her YouTube channel in the description. Do check that out. On the other hand, we have CA Rasika Gokhale, who has secured AIR 11 in the CA final November 20 examinations. She works at Gokhale Associates, her firm in Mumbai, and has secured 81 marks in paper 4, corporate and economic laws. Thank you so much for the both of you for taking out time today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Sure, let's probably start, get into the thick of things right away. Our first question is, what are the study resources and where did you study from to start off? Can we start with Rajvi?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of study resources, I think the module itself is very sufficient and self-explanatory. But in case you've joined any classes, you can refer to that material as well. But I would say the institute material should be your base, and you should also refer the past RTPs, MTPs, and suggested answers so that you get a hang of how the questions are framed and how are you supposed to answer them.
Rasika, what is your take on this?
So similarly, because I joined classes notes were the first set of material that I went through. But I used to have something kind of a tracing through the module. So anything that's missed out, I would mark it into the module. So finally, I have a final set that I need to study with module as the base because you can't ignore ICI. And along comes the RTP, MTP, past papers. And I think the BOS portal has the majority of things that you must have a look before giving any paper, I think.
Got it. And to probably ask you further, is self-study sufficient? Because I've personally done classes, and I think both of you would have done probably on similar lines. But I feel a lot of people end up studying law on a self-study basis, right? Rasika, what would be your take on that to start off?
I think finally everybody comes down to the self-study in the last 5 months because whatever you retain from classes, but the classes gives you an angle of how you're supposed to study the subject because there's directors, let's say other laws and some other subjects. So it gives a path and then finally you go on to the self-study. So I had a mix of both where I like the classes pattern and then went on to the self-study.
Rajvi, what is your take on this?
Right. I think similar to what Rasika said, but I believe economic laws is something which you can do on your own. But for a few chapters of company law, in case you've not taken classes, you can probably refer to some YouTube videos or something to get more understanding on the concepts and deep dive into them.
Amazing. Which actually leads us to our next question in terms of what is an ABC strategy for law, or should a person actually have an ABC strategy, considering that it's a very vast syllabus, right? But ultimately, each act and each part of the law also is very important, and anything could come up in the paper. So, starting off with Rajvi, did you have an ABC strategy in place, and what are the main chapters to focus on?
Honestly, I think ABC strategy was not something that worked for me. I always had a thing that I wanted to cover everything because the institute papers can be quite unpredictable and you can get anything from anywhere, especially with MCQs coming in. So I would recommend like doing the entire syllabus. But having said that, you have to have focus on a few chapters because 1.5 days too short a time to cover everything. So yeah, so directors and FEMA, SEBI, so all the big chapters and the chunks which you know are going to come for sure. You should have more conceptual understanding on them, but you should not ignore the other small chapters as well because it might just come in MCQ. So you can have a summary of all the limits, all the things which can come in MCQs, so that it can be handy on the last day.
Got it. What is your how did you plan your strategy?
I think Rajvi was spot on there because I never had a ABC strategy as such. I believed that if I didn't finish everything, I would go frantic. So I studied everything. But I mean, C is something that maybe not in the 1.5 days, I just come back from the last paper and see it for a while and not give it the major attention, like something like foreign company or the small miscellaneous chapters. Because of course, directors being the crux and question one has to be from there majority of the times. I think that can come as a flow of how you should plan your 1.5 days. But I personally cannot leave any chapter and I would not suggest anybody to do that because as she rightly said, MCQs, it can be asked from anywhere, and ICI exactly knows which chapter everybody will leave because they were also
Right.
students.
And coming to the next part, actually, in terms of how does one prepare for MCQs? Because in the last 3-4 attempts at least, right, what I've personally seen is people, like you correctly mentioned, leave out certain chapters, and that counts for 10 to 15 marks in MCQs. So was there any specific strategy that Rasika, you followed for MCQs, or was it just integrated into your overall study plan?
So I think the major study was from the modules. They give us a nice set of MCQs. Then there's a 30 to 70 ratio analysis on the BOS portal. That has almost many questions of MCQs. Then past papers, RTP gives you an idea because sometimes they love limits. So then you have to by heart them or you at least know them. So that is, and actually our law paper was amazing. So everything came from ICI material, and that gave a good boost while writing the paper. So I think cover the entire material, and then if you get the time, refer something else, other authors.
Got it. Rajvi, what did you do different for MCQs?
Yeah, I think the same thing. You have to basically focus on your concepts more and recollect the limits and all of that. So you should make a summary of all of that. And for practice, I think the ICI MCQs are sufficient because they might just ask directly from there, and in case they ask from outside, it's not going to be the same as any author. So unless you have extra time due to postponements or something, you can solve additional MCQs. But otherwise, I think the modules and the institute material is sufficient.
So when I say modules, I'm also referring to the RTPs and MTPs that come through.
Yes, correct.
And also
in fact, the
probably
last
the one
few RTPs, MTPs did have integrated MCQs as well. So they gave us a good understanding of how they will actually ask in the exam.
Got it. Amazing. So moving on. Also, how do you find written practice? Rajvi, to start off with you, did you probably write law and C as compared to probably a practical subject like SFM, right? Did you have written practice where you wrote down section numbers and probably case laws as well for law, or did you not have written practice?
So I think you should at least write one paper for a theory paper. At least you should write one paper to see whether you are able to match up to the speed and your presentation is proper, and whether you're structuring the answer as per the institute suggested material. And in case you daydream while reading or something, you can probably while reading write the main pointers of each provision. Just scribble it in your notebook so that the recollection power is much better in that sense. But just for the speed, you can write one paper, I think.
Okay, Rasika, what is your take? Did you write any mock papers for law?
Yeah, she is amazing. I mean, one was sufficient for her, but for me, frankly, the extensions helped only that way because I had a lot of writing practice. So I wrote 5 sets of each paper. So that's how I developed the habit of writing law. And for me, law was 200 marks because my optional was economic laws. So that gave me a boost while writing both the papers because I had in mind I'm studying this for 200 marks. So writing practice, there's no substitute for that. You have to write.
Understood. I'll probably add on to something here. So this video is sponsored by EdGames. So adding on to what Rajvi said in terms of it being a very monotonous and you probably start daydreaming, right? So this is a very interactive platform where you can probably do quizzes and evaluate where you stand with your peers and your friends. So we will be dropping a link in the description box below. Do check that out. And please let us know how you find EdGames. They have 4 subjects at the moment: law, audit, direct tax, and indirect tax. So please check it out and let us know how you find the platform so that we can reach out to them and tell them that this is being useful for CA aspirants. Moving on, the next thing is about should one actually understand the BEAR Act? Because I personally tried reading the IBC BEAR Act or probably the SARFAESI Act, right? And I probably struggled to understand the language that goes into it. Did any of you probably read the BEAR Act, or did we not have enough time to go into it at all? Starting off with Rasika.
I think time, at least for us, was not an issue. But let's say it does become a bit monotonous or not something. So ICI actually made a better version out of it. The module covers the act, but makes it such that we as laymen also can understand the letter of the law and approach it. So maybe if you are very interested doing LLB, you can read the BEAR Act. But I would say, is it vital? Not really.
Got it. Rajvi, did you do anything? I mean, I understand that both of you had your exams in May and then it got probably postponed to November, right? Even in those probably extra 4 or 5 months, even though through multiple postponements, Rajvi, did it even strike you ever, like even once, to probably go back to the Bare Act and read it?
I think not really. So for a few chapters in which, the institute literally deep dives and asks questions from the nook and corner of the section, one word can change your answer. So some of those questions, in order to get a greater understanding, you can probably refer the Bare Act and understand why the answer is structured in this manner. But otherwise, for the other small chapters, I think the questions are quite standardized and you wouldn't need to actually refer the Bare Act for them. But for directors or some other chapters, to get more understanding, you can refer on a need to basis, but not really reading the entire chapter from the Bare Act.
So what I can garner from here, it's very important to understand the letter of the law, like Rasika rightly mentioned, and that is more than enough in the study module itself. So as long as we cover the ICI material, RTPs, MTPs, past papers, you should be good to go to cover a good 100 marks in the paper, right? Okay. Moving on, a very interesting question in terms of what I've also been through, right? Are section numbers important in law? And there has always been a myth that if you write a section number, you get that one extra mark compared to someone else who doesn't write a section number. Personally speaking, I remembered one section number, which is 177, audit committee, right? And that was all I could remember for all my examinations. And because that's something we have done at work as well. Starting off with Rasika, did you probably write section numbers or did you prepare for it differently?
Yeah. I mean, I always cannot write a paper without section numbers. So I had a list also of the sections, important ones made. I used to see them when I'm studying law and made a point to always write section numbers and highlight it, because I feel if you're giving the examiner exactly what you know and writing it in the first letter of your answer, he knows you know the answer. So he need not read the entire 5 pages or whatever, 5 lines to know whether you know. So I think for me, if I was in it's very important.
Got it. Rajvi, did you write section numbers in your paper?
Yeah, so on the same lines, it was a bit of a hassle there to remember all of that. But I think for some chapters like winding up or stuff like that, where it's practically not possible to remember each section number, you can probably remember the chapter number under Companies Act and quote that in the answer, so that it just gives the examiner a point of view that you have actually read the chapter and you know where you're coming from. And for economic laws, again, only the important section numbers, because it's not possible to remember all. But for the important chapters, I think the writing section numbers is important because it's really essential, because the examiner really understands that you've actually put in effort to remember and you are conceptually right.
Yeah, maybe for the other laws it's not needed, because me being economic law, it helped. But otherwise, ticket 40 marks mein nahi likha to chalta hai. But 60 marks at least, give it your best shot.
Look at the next point in terms of how many revisions is essential for law and how many days did you probably take for each revision, right? Rajvi, if you can throw some light on that.
Yeah, so as being an exceptional attempt, I think we can't compare the number of revisions. But in real scenario, I think first read after your study leave plus 2 revisions would be required, because law being a theoretical paper, you need to revise again and again to remember stuff and to understand it more conceptually. And I think since it's a very vast portion, I think 10 to 12 days would be required in the first read, like both corporate law and economic laws. And subsequently, somewhere around 5 to 6 days would be if you want to cover the entire syllabus.
Okay. Rasika, what was your, how many revisions did you do? I hope it's not 5 to 6, because people watching this video will get really scared.
No. I mean, like she said, our attempt was a very special one, so you can't really compare. But 3 are enough. So I'm not a person who does one subject and goes on to the next. So I keep studying it over the period. So the first revision ends, let's say Jan end. Then we go to the second with RTP, MTP, and then past papers. So that's how an entire study with 3 revisions, I think, is good enough.
Awesome. So probably the next thing, right? So like you mentioned, Rasika, you did paper 6D, which is economic laws, as an elective, right? Did you find that it helped you a lot while preparing for the elective paper because you already had a base in paper 4, or how was it? What was your journey and what is your take on that?
So I think it did help. I liked law being my personal thing, but the other way, like the 3 chapters, the main ones in other laws being IBC, FEMA, and PMLA, those being repeated in economic law gives you a strength that you know already 3 chapters, and the others are good enough and nice. So economic laws, being a law student and going for economic law gives you that added advantage of already knowing half the portion of a 100 marks paper. So I guess that synergy helped me.
Sure.
And the other way around. So while studying economic law, law helped as a subject because you're actually reading a lot in depth about the economic laws there.
Got it. Rajvi, what is your take on it, and what was your elective to start off?
Yeah, so I taken international tax as an elective. So again, like the synergies did help in the DT paper. But I
Okay.
think economic laws is very interesting, and even I was contemplating whether to take it or not. So I'm sure it would have been an added advantage in the law paper.
Got it. So what I understand from here is, Rasika, you took law because papers 4 and 6D were similar, whereas Rajvi, you took international tax because that probably combined with paper 7. So
Right.
for people who are probably choosing an elective today, try seeing synergies in between different papers and then take a choice. And also what interests you the most as well, because you probably can't do a paper just because it has a synergy unless you are interested in it,
Interesting.
if I can say
Yep.
that. Got it. Moving on, what was probably your 1.5 day strategy between your examinations, considering that you have 3 blockbuster papers before that in terms of FR, SFM, and audit, right? And I think everyone who writes an audit paper comes back feeling very dreadful after the paper. So Rajvi, what was your, I would say, coping mechanism? Part A, what is the coping mechanism after the audit paper? And did you do anything different in the 1.5 days before the law paper?
I think the 1.5 days are the main focus because that's where, you revise everything, all the hard work which we put in over the past few months. So beforehand, you have to plan your 1.5 day really, really well, like a time-based plan as to kitne time mein what chapter do you want to cover and what part of that chapter and from which material. So that has to be very well planned. And I think in terms of the coping mechanism, you have to forget what you've written in the past 3 papers because that's the only way to go about it. Because nobody will be like super confident that all the 3 papers were amazing and now I'm all set for law. So just kind of forget what has happened and move on to the next because this is your next best way to kind of boost up your score. So that was about it. But have a very well-defined plan and ensure that you cover everything which you've planned.
Got it. Rasika, what was your plan? Did you do anything different in the 1.5 days?
Yeah, I mean, law being the last of the group 1 paper has an intangible weightage to itself only. Aggregate bana sakta hai ya tod sakta hai. In that fear, after audit coming back, I think that is where the ABC, the tracing from the module, making numerics, and being ready with your how to start off right after. If you're a morning person, take light subjects when you're back from audit. Then morning start off, and I never compromised on sleep, so that helps you because itna theory andar ja raha hai ki you need to have a good night's sleep to get it all in.
The second last agenda point that we want to cover is a very important and crucial part in how does someone attempt the law paper, considering it has an MCQ part to it, and how do you utilize the 15 minutes reading time effectively, right? Rasika, if you could throw some light on that.
Yes, so my strategy for every paper was I used to not look at the MCQs for 1.5 hours. So mine was I'm writing 42 marks in the first 1.5 hours such that I get 30 marks or 35 on an average paper. And then I used to go to the MCQs. So it would give me a good enough feeling that I'm with 2 hours, I'm good off in the paper. But in the 15 minutes, pencil leke, I used to read the questions, whichever I know I straight pick and put numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once I made that, I'm not attempting the 6th question, I used to never look at it. Otherwise, your mind keeps going, do I know this? Should I substitute? So 15 minutes is to decide what you're going to write and then go off with your 3 hours and do not finish the paper. I mean, that's number 1. Try finishing the entire paper.
Got it. Rajvi, did you do anything different from what Rasika's mentioned here?
Perfect. So I think the 15-minute plan was the same. Number 1, elimination, and number 2, sequencing it. But as for the MCQs, I had a strategy of doing it in the first 30 minutes and then moving on to the theory part of the paper because I think 30 marks, covering 30 marks in 30 minutes would give me an inner sense of confidence that I'm good in the paper and I'll be able to achieve it. But otherwise, yes, you have to finish the paper. Like there's no other way about it. So just plan accordingly and do sufficient writing practice.
Sure. Rajvi, I have a follow-up question on this actually. So a lot of people have told me personally that if they started off with MCQs, right, and they weren't aware for probably a good 15 to 20 marks in that out of the 30 marks, it would throw them off their game because For a descriptive question of 14 marks, you probably know a 12 to 14 mark answer, but in MCQs, you probably don't know close to 15, 20 marks, or you're ambiguous about it. Did that ever happen to you, or did you actually find the MCQs pretty simple?
I think fortunately for law, the MCQs were quite manageable. But in terms of a few papers, so in IDT, there were a few MCQs which were quite and conceptual, so I did get walked off. But I think that in fact gave me a more boost that, I have to perform well in the theory part of in the balance 70 mark. So I need to really buck up and ensure that I complete the paper and I really write stepwise and ensure that I write everything very properly. So, but it's important to keep your mind calm, because being calm and confident is the only way to go about this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
IDT MCQs, you do at any point of the 3 hours, you were thrown off your game.
I think IDT was one of the worst papers,
Yeah.
after which I didn't know if I was going to pass or what was going to happen. So the last thing that we have today is we've discussed a very healthy discussion in terms of how to probably score, what strategies to use. If I can ask each of you three top tips that you would possibly say that you did different, or that you essentially did to get to these marks, right? What would they be? Top three tips and tricks, starting off with Rasika.
Yeah, so mine was covering the entire ICI material, not leaving anything. So, like, since we had the time, RTPs right from November 17 till date. So, everything that ICI could ask in their material was done. Second was, of course, writing practice. I didn't hide what I did, of course, quite literally. So, writing practice is very important for theory subjects at least. And lastly, which section numbers, and making short forms for answers, putting them into breaking down the paras and making it into points and all that. Writing practice helped there.
Got it. Rajvi, what was your top three tips and tricks?
Yeah, I think almost similar on the lines of Rasika. So first thing is covering the entire syllabus, because I've seen in law a lot of students leave a few chapters because it's too vast, but that's the biggest mistake you can make. So covering the entire syllabus. Next is basically summarizing all the form numbers, section numbers, penalties, and all the 14 days, 7 days, and all of that, because that's something which they try to test you in MCQs, and it's like very simple. If you recollect it, it's very scoring on that end. So doing that is very important. And last is, I think, planning very well, like what you want to cover from anything. And basically, in case you go wrong in any RTP, MTP, you just make a short note of 2 lines where you went wrong and what's the correct provision, because you can't refer everything at the last moment.
Got it. Awesome. I think the amount of insights that we've probably had today, right? I think that will probably get me to 30, 40 marks for someone who's watching the video. So I think that really helps. To just point out to our viewers as well, Rajvi has a YouTube channel whose link we'll be attaching in the description box below. Rajvi, I would probably love if you could talk about your channel for a little bit and give our viewers an idea about it.
Sure. So my YouTube channel is basically about sharing strategy videos on how to go about the paper, be it subject-wise or be it just generic guidance. And I'm really glad that people are liking what I'm sharing. And I think you guys are also doing an amazing job. And, the career videos and all of that, I'm sure it's going to help a lot of students out there. So kudos to that.
Thanks, Rajvi. Rasika, on the other hand, has a platform called Mentorify that she runs, which provides mentorship across varied platforms, not only restricted to CA. Rasika, if you could take us through your journey at Mentorify and what it does essentially.
Sure. So I think Mentorify, or we like to call it mentoring by the millennials. It's basically you and I who, like you're doing on your platform, getting the younger generation to know what exactly you need. But somebody needs that personal touch, that one-to-one attention, that you can't ask a 40-year-old CA right now about how was your exams or what to do or what not to do. He'll say social media chhod do. But we know who's just been out of the journey, let it be GRE, UPSC, CAT, going abroad for education, all kinds of stream. We provide you the right mentor of our age.
Got it. So it's probably two very diverse people doing different things, but contributing to society at large, right? So thank you so much for the efforts that you put in every single day, because this is going to be extremely important for all those aspirants across different streams. And Rajvi, for your channel, I think coming from an All India rank 3, I think people look up to you and they will definitely follow your channel for tips and tricks. So please keep generating more content that way, right? I've had a great time here today talking to both of you. I probably wish I would spoken to you probably 6 months ago, 9 months ago, and I might have scored more marks in my paper. But having said all of that, thank you so much for taking out time again. It was a wonderful session.